New this morning on your Fast Track to 7, a crash that looked worse than it was. A Moorhead police officer came upon this rollover in North Moorhead earlier this morning. However, no one was hurt.
The officer says they found an SUV on its side just before 1 a.m. in the 5400 block of North Broadway. No word on if anyone was detained on any charges involving this incident. A rising star in the state legislature. That's how many people are remembering North Dakota Senator Doug Larson of Mandan, who lost his life over the weekend in a plane crash. Larson, his wife, and 2 young children were killed Sunday in that plane crash in Moab, Utah. Police there say their small plane went down soon after takeoff following a refueling stop.
Larson was elected in 2020 and was a 29-year member of the North Dakota Army National Guard, having been mobilized twice to Iraq. State Senator Scott Meyer sat behind Larson in the Senate and is remembering his friend's candor on the issues. District Republicans will now appoint a successor to fill out the remainder of Larson's term through November of 2024. The stakes are getting higher for a Minnesota man charged with killing his ex-girlfriend, Maddie Kingsbury, back in March. Adam Fravel is heading to court on new charges today after a grand jury indicted him for first-degree murder in Kingsbury's death. Charges include premeditation and murder with a pattern of domestic abuse. In Minnesota now, only a grand jury can bring those first-degree murder charges, and it is significant because Fravel will then receive a mandatory life sentence if he's convicted.
Now, Fravel is the father of Kingsbury's 2 children and was the last person seen with her as they dropped those children off at daycare on March 31st. He was then arrested about 2 months later after her body was found near his childhood home. An Elk River, Minnesota family's fight with the school district has now paid off. Their daughter now able to have access to her medical cannabis on school grounds. 9-year-old Crystal Mattis will now be allowed to get her dose at school after initially being told that she needed to leave school property in order to take her medication.
Crystal takes cannabis to help with her epilepsy and autism spectrum disorder. She takes an oil with CBD and THC that her parents then mix with juice.
Time now for a look at our storm team forecast as we send things on over to meteorologist Lisa Green. A busy morning this morning, Lisa.
Yeah, you know, we've got some rain, we've got some thunderstorms going on and more on the way. So if you haven't seen much yet, we do have more opportunities for rain or more threats for severe weather, depending on how we want to look at things here today. We're looking at some rain on our camera dome in the parking lot here at Home of Economy. We're looking out on Highway 2 there. Travel's going to be, that's in Devil's Lake, by the way. Travel's going to be a little tougher in that area this morning, though we're starting to quiet things down. We'll see another round midday and then later tonight. So basically each significant part of the day today, we have the potential for some rounds of thunderstorm activity. Most of us are fairly quiet this morning. You can see all that lightning up in the northern part of the viewing area. We'll zoom in on this region where we've got some thunderstorms moving through Cavalier County, now moving through Pembina and back over toward the Hallock area. These are moving north-northeast, so gradually they will, pretty quickly here in fact, with this particular thunderstorm, move north of the border. But right now it's affecting the Pembina area, the border crossing area there, getting hit pretty hard by some heavy rain. And there may be some small hail within that particular cell as well. And then on top of that, we've got some areas of fog. Visibility is down to a 1/4 mile in Grand Forks, back up to Grafton and Cavalier, less than a mile visibility there. So a look at our planner for today, rather our current conditions. We've got the rain in Devil's Lake, 59 degrees there, cool 59 in Grand Forks with the fog. And then in contrast, Fargo's at 74 degrees right now. Wind is out of the south and it's going to be strong today. We're going to see those gusts getting into the 30s, 40 miles per hour possible here. So morning at the bus stop, at least for Fargo students, Southern Valley looking pretty dry. Afternoon may end up being windier. We might have some rain and thunder move through, so it'd be a good idea to send the kids out the door with their rain gear just in case. And those gusts are going to be quite blustery here heading into tonight. Now, once we get into the rest of the week, midweek and beyond, we're really seeing a significant cool down. We go from around 80 today to 60s tomorrow as that next system moves in. That one will be kicking up more wind, northwesterly, chillier wind, and some rain with it as well. And so by the time this moves out, Friday is going to be pretty cool. And Saturday morning, we have the potential for some frost. We haven't seen it yet this season in some areas. So that may be the start of that. And we're looking at a much cooler weekend compared to last.
Okay, thank you, Lisa.
A Fargo family now in mourning after the loss of their family dog. They say it was stabbed to death by a stranger over the weekend in South Fargo. The family says they stopped at an open lot in the 4700 block of 13th Avenue South to let their husky run around, they say, like they've done many times before.
But the family says the dog then ran up to another dog and that dog's owner stabbed their pet.
I can't believe that he could be taken. I mean, he literally wasn't just taken, he was murdered. I mean, it was literally straight up murder.
Police say there was an altercation between the two dogs and that resulted in a confrontation between their owners. However, Davis, who you just heard from, claims there was no altercation. No arrests have been made in the case. The Mahnomen County Sheriff's Office is asking for help finding an ATV crash victim or proving that a call they got is actually fake. They got that call early Sunday morning about someone bleeding from the head near Roy Lake, but the caller would not give them any other information.
A large-scale search on the ground and in the air turned up nothing, and now police are asking people to check on family members, friends, and even acquaintances who may have been riding an ATV in the Strawberry Mountain Height of Land area over the weekend. Be sure to contact the Mahnomen County Sheriff's Office if anyone is missing or if you have any information related to this incident.
Fargo police are again asking for help solving the disappearance of Kevin Mahoney, who went missing 30 years ago. He was 25 years old at the time and was last seen leaving a friend's house in North Fargo back in 1993.
If you have any information, no matter how small you may think it is, you're urged to contact Fargo PD by texting 241-1405. Anonymous tips can be submitted to keyword Fargo PD and texting the number 847-411.
The former Jamestown Basketball Boosters president is accused of stealing thousands of dollars from that club. Court documents allege Jessica Thurlaxon wrote checks to herself, putting travel reimbursement or mileage in the memo line, but left no documentation for where, when, or why she was traveling. She resigned in 2022, citing personal reasons, but then refused to return the concession keys, the deposits, and receipts. The books for the Jamestown Basketball Boosters now show a shortfall of more than $9,300.
The cost of renovating the Minnesota governor's residence now spiking, officials say, because key components were in worse condition than they originally anticipated. State officials say they're adding extra security upgrades now as well. Work now expected to cost $12.8 million. That's up from $7 million when the inside and out rehab began back in June. It's another sign of staffing shortages and spiking costs in the long-term care business. The Good Samaritan Society says they are closing its nursing home in the small town of Mohall, North Dakota next month.
The executive director says the organization has faced persistent and increased challenges in staffing along with some caregiving positions, and they even say that they've tried creative solutions which haven't worked out. Be listening for an emergency alert on your smartphone tomorrow. FEMA and the FCC are conducting a nationwide test, and it will be in two parts.
One is directed toward consumer cell phones. The other will go to radios and TVs. The test starts at 1:20 p.m. Central Time. It lasts around 30 minutes. Again, happening tomorrow. The Minnesota Department of Revenue says it is now done processing those tax rebates. More than 2 million direct deposits and paper checks totaling nearly $1 billion were sent out to eligible Minnesotans over the last 45 days.
If you didn't get one, check your eligibility requirement. Then contact the State Revenue Department. Also check your mail. Paper checks were sent out in plain white envelopes from a company called Submittable Holdings based in Missoula, Montana. Some people thought they were junk mail, so they threw them out. An assistant West Fargo police chief is now moving up to the top job after the retirement of Dennis Otterness, who's retiring at the end of this week. Pete Nielsen has been the assistant chief since November 2021.
He's a West Fargo native who started with the department back in 1999 and even established the department's K-9 program altogether. West Fargo also has a new city administrator.
Dustin Scott previously served as the assistant city administrator and has been the acting city administrator since March. Moorhead police are supporting National Breast Cancer Awareness Month this month by wearing pink badges. The hope is to inspire and provide courage to the people that are impacted by breast cancer.
Now officers purchase the badges themselves, with the proceeds going to the Edith Sanford Breast Center. A pedal pub coming to the Northern Valley. The Grand Forks City Council last night approved plans for a bicycle bar on wheels similar to the one in Fargo. The bikes typically feature seating for 10 pedaling patrons and 4 riding passengers as well.
Can I sign up to be the riding passenger in that case? Anyway, the route will start and end in East Grand Forks. There was some concern that the pedal pub would be too slow as it goes across the downtown bridge, but city leaders say they will adjust the route if any issues from that do arise. Well, you could call this right here the vault heard around the world. Simone Biles made history at the 2023 World Artistic Gymnastics Championship over the weekend. There you saw it, the leg kick out as she landed that extremely difficult Yurchenko double pike vault. After she did it, that skill was then renamed the Biles 2.
That was her first international competition in 2 years after the dramatic pullout of the Tokyo Olympics. She now has 8 national titles, 25 world medals, and 7 Olympic medals, all in her trophy case.
Yeah, and we do want to say, don't try that at home. Otherwise, I think the orthopedic surgeon will be your best friend.
It was the one leg for me. She was committed to sticking that for
She
sure.
really was. That's true talent. Anyway, the Today Show and CBS Mornings are just about to start, but the Valley Today rolls on.
Thank you all so much for waking up and joining us here in the Valley today. My name is Ashlyn Hill.
And I'm Jordan Schreier. Have a great Tuesday.